Hey, what's up, guys? So I won the trial yesterday, and so let's see where that puts me in the ranking. I'm at 110, and that's kind of unfortunate because when I lost one, I was at 98, so I dropped to 130. I won one, and I get back to 110. So we're still going backwards more than we're going forwards, so that's kind of unfortunate. But here's the ranking. I'm going against Nah. Here's Nah's stats, and here are my stats. I'm running the same defense I had yesterday, so I'll give you guys a quick look at this. We'll see if it can still do pretty well against my opponent today. And this is what my opponent is running on defense. So I'm going to work on some counters, guys, and then we're going to see how we can get this to go. So I figure I'd start with the hard one. And this is something I've been experimenting with in War, and Updog helped me too in some PvP to see if this could work. That is the Odin with Secret Defenders going against the Spider side of Mephisto. And I don't think it really works on anything else, but for this one, since we're still seeing it, I thought I'd give it a try because it helps me to balance out my attacks. And I wasn't sure if Photon should be switched with Black Cat, but I said I'll go ahead and try it. Keep Black Cat in the corner because that may come in handy. And what I'm seeing here is my thought at first was to go ahead and rewind the Mephisto. And I changed my mind. I said, let's hit the Pav and see what happens. What I didn't realize is that the taunt goes up immediately because I thought I could stun the Mephisto after this move. But after that move, you can't. And so I was like, well, we're going to go ahead and go in on the Pav again. And so the whole thing now, because every time you do this, your hard light is going to die. It's like you got to rely on your Photon's passive. And I think here, Robbie, when he ability blocks the Peter, that helps things a bit. But he, as big as he is, he doesn't last. And so Photon is pretty key. So I put the blind over here on Penny. And it's going to come down to really the Photon and the Black Cat. And of course Odin. But now Odin has his special up, so that really kind of solidifies things. And as you'll see here, his basic is just so devastating that each time he hits, it just gets closer to a win. The thing that I was hoping to do is I was still hoping to get in a good hit with Black Cat on Mephisto, but when her turn comes up, I believe he goes stealth. So the only one I could hit was the Spider-Gwen. As you can see, it really doesn't matter. Odin is just going in strong. Oh, and Robbie did live long enough to do his ult, so that was key. So you see what he did here, and that was key damage. And so now it's really going to come down to Odin just kind of carrying it the rest of the way. You see my Black Cat is pretty low. It's like, just go ahead and just, hit where you can. I was able to hit the Mephisto, but she's not strong enough to kill him. I don't think it matters because at this point, Odin was able to get his ult, and he just wipes out the team. So it's really a decent counter. It's not efficient, but I've seen guys going with Illuminati, Old Man Logan, on Annihilator's Mephisto, and that's not really efficient either. And so here, I was thinking efficiency. I said, well, let's go ahead and stick with the Cabal. And my thought is we'll do Archangel because he should be fast enough to go ahead and help slow that team down some more, because this is not really a fast team. If you can get in front of the Noir, then you really have this in the bag if you're using Cabal. And so this is about efficiency because the opponent I'm going against, he is rank 84 right now. And I said, okay, I got to try to find a way to one-shot everything if I can. And so Archangel, I put him in. I made them strikers because what it appears is that Zemo can still land a crit. And so, off his passive and then off his ult as a striker, because I do have him at G18 level 100, and that just sets things off. Archangel here, slow them down, even though that's not the two I want to slow down. I think it's fine. And so you can see here now that I have control over this counter. And so my target maybe should have been Noir just to get him out sooner, but I wanted to put in as much damage on Agatha as I can because she by far will be the one that has the most health. And so now here's like, okay, let's just hit Moon Knight, make sure he doesn't blind us or anything like that. Not that I think he would get a chance to go because Agatha will go before him, and that's all in hindsight. But I don't think it really matters because, like I said, Cabal is so fast over this team, and it's really just try to get good efficiency. And so here I just want to go with the old reliable counter here, and that's Old Man Logan and Apoc. The thing is I did not expect to get hit as hard as I did by the Gladiator, or really the Gore. So you can see how hard I get hit by the Gore, and it's like, whoa, Old Man Logan's really low. Except that ignites Old Man Logan, so that was helpful. So now I know he can get his revives, and basically he gets going. And so knowing that this team can revive, it's a pretty safe feeling. No matter what happens from the Illuminati, and there's a huge punch up. The only thing I was hoping to do was get a little more damage out of Apoc's Falcon Punch, and I was hoping to get over to the Gore with it. But it does put in pretty good damage. It takes him a little low. And the main thing now is I can move over. And so I was thinking that Gore was a pretty big threat, especially after taking, the Gladiator's special here. I was thinking Gore was a pretty good threat, so I was like, let me try to put this Dakin special on him. And it didn't do quite what I was hoping it would do, but it's still damage. I'm like, well, let's just get Quicksilver out of here. And actually, Deadpool is putting in more damage, and I think more underrated than people realize. Now, this move here maybe should have gone on Gladiator or maybe gone on Gore, but my hope was to do more damage to the Thanos, but he still has too many buffs up, so it wasn't the best move to make at that point. I don't know if it makes a huge difference because at the end of the day, the Gore was killed, and that was the main thing I wanted. And since Ultimus is so slow, he was just killed by just the chain, and I didn't expect that at all. So now here I did target the Gladiator. My hope was that I could get him out, and that worked. And so now it's just all about just let Old Man Logan do his work and just finish this thing off. Now this counter here I think is very safe. If you're going to just go ahead and use your Illuminati on this Orchis Skrull, you're going to do fine. I wasn't sure of any other counters at the time, and so I was like, well, I'm just going to use them here. And maybe it worked out for the best because it's very efficient. It's just smooth going. I didn't know how to play it, so I just went in with the special from Shuri, and I think that helped because it just freed things up so I could get over to the Skrull. And once I can get to the Skrull, start put some damage on him, and then eventually stun him, I feel like it's a pretty safe match going forward. And so I think in this battle, you still stick with special from the Illuminati until I think you get to the right here, Reed Richards ult, and then that way you can just start putting in some damage. Now, I don't know if the targeting here was what I should have done. Maybe I should have went after the Sentinel instead of the Omega Sentinel. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's a huge difference because maybe it was just a point or two more either way on efficiency. There's no way to know for sure. But I probably will go after the Omega Sentinel next time. Just because here, I think the one bot that I'm not able to get to just cost me an extra turn or two. And so when you're looking to battle for efficiency against a guy that's extremely good as my opponent and as efficient as he is, that can be costly. And it's also just still a learning experience because I think this is the first time I used this team on a full Orchis, especially one this big, so I wasn't quite sure how to go about it. But as you play it, you learn and you go, you get better. And so this was just another learning experience for me, and hopefully you guys can benefit from it as well. Now, when I looked at this counter here, I said, this is going to probably be best just use Superior 6 because I had spread myself out pretty thin, and I said, well, I need Apoc elsewhere. I don't want to use Massive Evil here with Apoc and then have a problem with taking out the Annihilators. And so this is still a tried and true counter. I was a little worried because I forgot they go stealth, so I couldn't put the slow on the Nightcrawler. But at the end of the day, we're all probably, well, I guess many of us has taken the 3-piece or as many Superior 6 into the DD8 as we can, and so they're just so strong that it just really doesn't matter. And they're just really overpowering his team at this point because there's no way that they can sustain the damage, even with the revives. And so even though I get stuck behind the rogue and I was a little worried, when I saw my Vulture just take those hits and block it and really just barely get scratched, I knew my team was just way stronger than his at this point in the game. And so that I was not going to be too worried. The main thing now is just to get over to the forge as soon as I can. And perhaps if his Nightcrawler was stronger, which I don't think he can make it much stronger, it could have been a problem. But as you see, my Superior 6 on full health. And as soon as I get Rogue into stealth, then I'm able to just jump right over and get the forge out of the way. And that just kind of seals the deal. I think at the end of the day, though, if you can use your Superior 6 somewhere else you want to, but in this case, this is the best use for me, I think, to get it done and still be somewhat efficient and safe. Because once again, opponent like I'm going against, it is going to come down to efficiency because we've done the same thing. We've both kept Odin on offense and we have Mephisto on defense. Now this counter here was really just an attempt to see what can happen because at the end of the day, I could not think of a way to clear this room with a one-shot. And so the question was, do I go in with my MOE first or do I go in my MOE second? And I said, well, let's just see how this speed works. Will Ultimus get a chance to go? Will he do any damage on the Black Knight? And he really doesn't go. And I was kind of shocked at that because like, wow, I would thought he would go here, but he did not. And not that it matters because at this point, if you can't get off the Black Knight, then you can't get over to the Void Knight and do anything to him. And so once they're already, I have one in the red. Once he goes, it just kind of seals the deal for this to just be a sack. And so my only hope was that maybe one of my rooms will hold up because I could not find a way to one-shot everything. And I figured this would be the best room to let it be a sack because then I could go in with new warriors and it would just be a very efficient cleanup. And so new warriors, all I want to do is just double check the ISOs. What I'm doing now is running 3 raiders, cloak and dagger strikers, and since the Black Knight is exhausted and the Void Knight is used as ult, it's really not much else here just other than to make sure the Carnage doesn't get a chance to take off. And so this is why I put the rewind here. And I also spread from here mostly to try to kill the Void Knight. That was my hope. And it's like all in on Carnage. And then I'll jump back over to the Red Goblin because he had already taken his turn as well. So, but as you can see, the team is just so powerful. I've got some red gear on a couple of them, and I'm going to do the Gwenpool to G19. And I think that's going to help me keep this team somewhat relevant, if nothing else for attacks like this, so that I can make sure that I'm able to be efficient with a double tap. And I think this was a very efficient double tap that is going to prove to be very useful down the line.